All right, and I can hear.
You can hear.
And I'm good to go.
You get to get.
Yeah. All right, cool. There's no echo. Perfect.
No echo.
Perfect.
No echo. You know I'm comfortable because I'm singing in a microphone around you.
That's true. Well, you sing all the time.
I sing, but I don't like karaoke because I don't like
You don't like
it being amplified.
I think that you don't like karaoke because every time you sing, you almost always sing a song you're inventing in your head.
Yes.
And if you sing a song that's pre-written that everybody knows, you're comparing yourself to that person.
Well, also too, because if I actually try to hit any real notes, my voice like literally cracks out.
So does Drake's. Like there's a lot of people who don't really sing.
But it's like that's why I'm convinced I can't scream, because I feel like if I were just to scream, it would go like, ah. Like
I know.
I don't. And there's something wrong with my vocal cords. I'm convinced.
You think something's wrong with everything.
I know, but like I literally.
I mean, I can list off all the things that you think there's something wrong with.
I can't tell you how many times I've like been like alone, like in a car or at home or whatever, and I go, okay, I'm gonna record myself singing.
Do it.
And just because I'm like I want to try, and it doesn't, and every time I'm like Jesus Christ, and then anytime I actually like really try to belt out something, my voice like literally like goes and like just cracks out.
Maybe it's like practice.
Nothing. Maybe I don't.
You're not stretching; it's a muscle.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
What are vocal cords?
I don't really know. TBH.
Because I have a picture of them in my head that in hindsight, I know is wrong. It's definitely not what they actually look like. But in my head, they're like the
strings.
They're like kind of strings. Like, yeah. But that can't be what it is.
No.
I mean, the ability to talk alone is insane.
Yeah, like the term voice box. It's like, what is a voice box?
Yeah. Isn't it weird too how it's like dogs make like 4 sounds?
Yeah.
But birds are like the musical animal.
And some of them can talk.
Yeah.
Like what?
The mockingbird is called a mockingbird. I was trying to remember with the birds. The mockingbird is called a mockingbird because they can imitate other birds.
Yeah.
They're the impressionists of the animal kingdom.
That's crazy. But it's like, okay, so like some birds can literally speak English. You're telling me a monkey can't?
Parrots can speak English.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens are crazy.
I didn't know ravens could do that.
Oh my God, ravens are crazy. Actually, they're like so smart.
Wait, I know ravens are smart. I've never heard a raven be like, hello.
Well, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, or like the raven saying like Lenore or whatever, like that.
That's not real.
But that's because ravens can talk.
No, no.
I'm
Googling right now. Can ravens talk?
Can ravens talk?
This is a cold open, by the way. You gotta leave this
I know.
Yes, ravens can talk, mimic human speech. Ravens are very intelligent, can learn to mimic human speech and singing. Some ravens have even been taught to say nevermore. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Okay, well, to be fair, isn't it supposed to be like a horror? I
think it's him losing his mind because he lost the love of his life. But then this raven comes out of nowhere and speaks to him.
Okay, before we continue with this really quickly. I look like an idiot right now. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I was going to...
What I didn't know was... Like,
how'd that fact check feel?
Because if you're talking about like makeup or anything, you're literally a professional licensed esthetician. Anything like that, whatever you say is gospel.
Okay.
Then there's certain things for me too.
Untrue.
Whatever I say,
you tell me skin things are wrong all the time.
When you're telling me, and it's usually me trying to get out of something, like you should use this product, and I'm like, no, I don't believe that because I don't want to use that product because I don't like lotions that much. It's never. I actually do believe everything you say.
Just don't want to listen.
I just don't want to listen to you, and so I'm pleading ignorant, much like a teenager being like, "You're not the boss of me." And it's like, "Well, yeah, I'm your fucking parent. Yeah, I am." But anyway, I was unaware before we had this discussion that you had such a deep background knowledge of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. If I had known this,
first of all, it's Edgar.
It's late. This is really late. This is too late for Poppy. I'm already like a dad where it's like, this is late.
Yeah, it is. I know we're shooting late today, but yeah, no, I love animals.
I know, but if, put it this way, if you had given me a horse fact, I believe you instantly.
Okay, but I guess I don't talk about it too much, but like the way you grew up being like, okay, sports and stuff like that, I grew up just being like animals.
Yeah.
Like I know so much about random animals.
Yeah.
My goal when I was a kid is like, I'm going to be a zookeeper.
I was going to say your childhood dream was to be a zookeeper.
Yeah.
My childhood dream was to be a shortstop for the New York Mets.
Yeah.
Like it legitimately was.
Yeah.
There are countless writings of like, what's your goal? I want to play shortstop for the New York Mets.
Uh-huh.
And then later was catcher for the New York Mets.
Yeah. No, I don't know, but I know animals. So yeah, how'd that fact check feel? You thought you were going to be so right.
This is shocking to me, and I'm sure it's shocking to all of our listeners.
I can go.
Ravens can talk. I thought that was a parrot thing.
Don't get me started about ravens because they are like really fascinating.
They're fascinating.
They're very fascinating.
They're bigger than crows, right? They're big, right?
They're bigger, and they're often mistaken for each other. But yeah. Like I think actually,
are ravens actually native to Baltimore? Because I know they named the Baltimore Ravens after Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. I would assume that.
Are they native?
I would assume.
Because I feel like, let's see, where are ravens?
This is the podcast where you guys are getting all your pivotal information.
Well, this is way too general. North America. Yeah, I fucking know that, buddy.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, they're found in
they're
every
birds.
continent.
They go wherever, I guess.
Well, isn't it crazy how a lot of animals here in the New World, America, are like horses aren't from America.
Or cows.
Cows aren't from America.
Crazy.
And
and you think of like horses and cows as like such an American thing.
Cows are from India, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how the place where the cows came from, they were so safe in India.
Yeah, they
like, can't eat cows.
They're worshipped there.
They're worshipped. And then we took the cows and we were like, you
were literally a piece of meat to us.
Next to chicken, we're going to kill and eat all of you.
Yeah.
Like you're basically like vegetables to us.
Yes.
We grow you like vegetables.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. Maybe I don't agree with all the practices and stuff. I don't watch all the vegans will always tell me, my sister used to be vegan. It's like, well, you have to read this one book and you have to watch this one documentary. It's like, no, I don't.
Yeah, I don't actually. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want me to show you all the cow shit that your vegetables were grown in?
Yeah.
No.
No.
You don't want to see that.
You don't.
No.
Ignorance is bliss.
It really is.
It really, and the older I get, the more I genuinely feel that ignorance is bliss.
It's the truest thing. I mean, you know me. I am a professional at blacking out.
Yes, you are.
Things I don't want to think about. Things I don't want to know.
Welcome back to the Public Cool Podcast.
Welcome.
My name's Michaela, and here's I need to start thinking ahead of.
We're tired tonight.
I know. This is Jack the Pool Boy. We're filming really late tonight, guys. It's 8:30.
Which, to be fair, we just shot a sketch. Which, when we shoot a sketch, we do way too much.
Yeah.
It's why our stuff looks like professional. Because we treat it like it's professional, and there's only two of us who do it.
I know. I recorded some behind the scenes today actually, because I keep meaning, honestly, for 3 years, I've been meaning to make a TikTok about how we actually do it, because I see comments all the time that are like, who's your cameraman? Or do you have a third person? Or people being like, why do you only upload a couple times a month? And it's like, well, we upload once a week. Because we don't use our phones. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
We're typically using 4 cameras when we're shooting.
Yeah.
If not more.
I love when people are like, whoever your editor is, you got to pay him more. And it's like, well, it's fucking me.
Yeah.
We're like, who writes this stuff?
My favorite is who writes this. Because I'm like, do you think that we just want to act?
Yeah, you think? If we just wanted to act.
Our acting is actually not our selling point. I would say that that's probably our weaker point, is our acting.
Well, what's funny is I think that we are actually good actors.
No,
but
we have our strengths.
Here's the difference. You can tell if you watch other people like us, if you watch their TikTok or YouTube or whatever videos, you can tell what their real goal is. Our real goal, we basically just want to create the funniest thing. So the writing is usually the funniest it can possibly
If we got an offer tomorrow that was you could be you're getting a TV show. You could either write it or be in it. I would choose write it.
I would choose write it too. Well, it depends. Are we still allowed to do our own stuff? Because we were doing our own stuff. I would be like, no, then I would act so it wouldn't invade. I don't want to write too much because then I run out of good ideas.
I guess that's true. But I guess just objectively, if they were take what we already do out of it. If they just were okay, you have the option between acting or writing in a show that's probably going to be a hit. Would you rather write it or act in it?
I mean, it'd be hard to say immediately part of me is acting in it. But the reason why I'd say acting, I'd ultimately go with writing. The reason why I would say acting in it though, is because that sounds so much fucking easier.
Yes.
And also again, I'm going to stop saying it's really late because it's 8:30, but we're wiped from basically we worked all day. Right now, because I'm kind of tired, I'm like, God, it would be so easy to just have to memorize some shit and say it.
I know.
God.
No, because it's I do love being in front of the camera. Of course. And I would love to act in something and just do that. But if if I basically knew that there was going to be a show that we're making that is going to be basically The Office level.
Mm-hmm. This is tough.
Like, I kind of would rather write it.
I would rather write that.
I would like to be able to go around saying I wrote The Office rather than being like I was in The Office.
Absolutely.
But I would also love to be in The Office.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can. But what I was going to say though is like you can tell who's trying to be an actor and who's trying to be a writer, because the ones who are trying to be actors, the stuff they'll come up with, or like if you go to an acting class, nobody is performing something from like Office Space or something from like like they're all performing the most absurd, crazy. Look at my range. That shit. I think we're actually better actors than we give ourselves credit for. It's just those characters usually are not as funny in the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Where it's like, oh yeah, this guy's insane. Like
He's so extreme.
It's like, okay, then
it's funny for bits, but
and it might actually be really funny, but when I'm editing it and I'm watching the same footage again and again and again and again, eventually I hate myself if I'm playing some crazy character. I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. Oh my God.
I know. But yeah, I don't know. So it's freaking at 8:30. That's grandma time for us.
Yeah.
Normally I'm already on the couch in Edibleville. So
yeah, usually
I'm usually off the charts by this time.
Usually you're off the charts, and I know it because if I'm up here working or if I'm down there with you. But
yeah, I work earlier in the day. You work later in the day. Like that's kind of so.
Yeah, you
kind of have your mornings. I kind of have my nights.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to really get anything done until like 3, honestly.
And that's when I crash.
And that's when you crash and you're kind of done. And especially during the winter, once the sun goes down, you're like a farmer.
Yes.
When the sun goes down, you're kind of like,
yeah.
And the sun went down before we even started. It gets whatever. But like you'll just start sending me TikToks, and when you're high, I'll hear you laugh out loud, like by yourself. Like I'll hear you like, and then like I know my phone's gonna buzz.
And half the time, stuff that makes me laugh so hard is something you would not understand the context to. So then I'll have to write out a whole thing. And then like half the time I'll literally write you a novel of like, here's the context. This is why this is so funny. And then I'll like delete it and won't send it because I'm like, it's not funny when you don't get it.
And you can tell how busy I am.
Yes.
If by my response to something I probably don't know what it means. If I'm really busy, I'll just do ha ha ha. And then I keep working. It's like, I don't have time to be like, well, tell me about Brecky Hill's backstory.
Yeah, which we'll get into today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like to be on the couch. I like to laugh by myself for a little bit. Sometimes I like...
These are wonderful qualities.
I know. It's fun. Sometimes I sit and watch Impractical Jokers. Like I get into a mood where I'm like, I need to watch the Impractical Jokers.
Yeah.
Because I need to like...
They're very funny.
I need to laugh to like where I'm like silent laughing. That's what I need. And that's kind of the only place I truly get it is Impractical Jokers.
They're really, really good. I got a lot of podcast stuff today.
I do too, but I just want to start off the episode with the most important thing. Congratulations to our boy Hunter.
Biden, he's out. Finally.
Pardons.
So I've been thinking about this. Okay. So if you're not aware and like you've been living under a rock, I love that saying though.
I know.
But if you're unaware that Hunter Biden was recently pardoned by his father, what?
Does Patrick Starr, is he stupid because he lives under a rock?
Yeah, that's one of the jokes.
Oh.
I've actually heard that before. Yeah.
Okay, that just buckled in my mind. Sorry, continue.
No, but I'm pretty sure that was the point.
Okay.
Like he literally lives under a rock.
He literally lives under a rock. Okay.
Anyway, so Hunter Biden was pardoned by his father, Joe Biden, the president, if you've been living under a rock for 4 years. But what was really interesting about it was usually when people are pardoned, in fact, I think maybe always, but we'll just say usually because I'm not positive, they're usually pardoned for a crime, like a specific crime or like a specific, folder of crimes of like you did this, this, and this. He was pardoned, blanket pardon. Anything he did in the last 10 years, you're good. 2014 to 2024, you cannot be charged for that crime. It's an insane it's an insane thing that power even exists, period. Like the fact that they're always like, have the president pardon this guy on who's about to be executed. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Can he, like, pardoning, like, maybe he shouldn't be executed for what he did, but he's still guilty of what he, like.
Yeah, like where it's like, maybe we'll take him off death row.
Maybe we'll take him off death row. Does he have that ability, or is it just a no, full loss pardon? Anyway, so I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
Hunter Biden, I'm so fucking tired. Hunter Biden.
Hunter baby boy.
Hunter little baby boy. He likes to party.
Yeah.
We know that for sure.
Yeah, that's my boy. You're talking about my boy?
There's really no limits to what he likes to do. Everybody is in agreement with, like, while he might not be the best guy, in fact, we know he's probably a very terrible guy, just with like what he did with his deceased brother's wife. It's not good.
It's not good. He's
a fun time.
He was having a brat summer way before brat summer.
He had a brat decade.
And
let's be real.
He's so brat. Hunter Biden is so brat.
So over Thanksgiving, like, I have to assume that's where this pardon came from, was over Thanksgiving. Jill Biden, Dr. Jill, and Hunter, and the rest of the fam that they acknowledge, because there's one they don't. I feel like they were like, you know what you should do? Come on, Dad, just pardon me. That way we can just, like, put everything to bed. And he was like, no, it's, like, bad or whatever. And at what point do you think, after Biden agreed, Hunter thought, he's an addict. He wants to go in for a little bit more. What if he made it your pardon not from 2014 to 2024, but from 2014 to 2025? Can he add that the next year?
Like through 2025? Like he has like one more year?
Yeah, like one more year of pardon.
I kind of like that.
Like, hey, by the way, nothing my son does for the next year is illegal. You can't charge him with it. I mean, that sounds like everyone's dream, especially a guy like Hunter Biden, who seems to only like doing things that are legal.
And like we mentioned before, Hunter Biden just loves taking pictures of everything.
I mean, yeah.
He needs to be an Instagram influencer.
He really does.
Hunter, I would love to see you on the gram moving forward. I hope that is your next career.
He definitely had one. And that was the first thing, like, take him off the fucking picture app, guys.
Yeah, take him off the gram.
Yeah.
But if he had one more fun year, and if he could just take a bunch of pics of it, because who cares, he's pardoned.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he'd be like the most followed guy on Instagram. I'd be all over that.
He'd break into the Oscars, and whoever gets up, he'd go and he'd be like, I'm going to reenact the Will Smith slap again.
Yeah.
What are you going to fucking do about it?
Why don't we let Hunter Biden just have like one free year? You're so right.
One free year. Dad, all I'm asking is for 1 year. It's not that big of a deal. You already did 10. I'm just waiting for those, seriously, like, what could come out? So right now, everybody's like, oh, this looks really bad on Biden. Everybody's like, well, what about Trump? And it's like, yeah, well, what about Biden's this stupid politics stuff? I keep on thinking, like, what could come out that Hunter did?
I know.
Like, what if we find out he, like, killed 4 people? It's like,
that would be crazy.
Because everybody's like, well, then he would be, no. You don't understand what a pardon is.
Like, he's clear.
You can't withdraw a pardon. You can't do it. So unless he killed someone outside of the U.S.'s jurisdiction,
which is a possibility.
Which is very likely. Let's be real. He was he was technically on the board of a Ukrainian energy company. He was on the board making like $200,000 a month. The guy knows nothing about energy. He was international, okay?
Yeah.
What if he killed like 4 people in Oklahoma? Like, what if we...
I know. That would be crazy.
Well, did you see on Twitter today, basically his old landlord in Venice, where we used to live, he was like, wait.
I think he still lives in Venice, actually, because I feel like I've heard of some people like seeing him out.
Well, apparently Hunter Biden owes him $300,000 for a year of rent that he never paid.
$300,000 of rent?
Baby, we lived in Venice.
I guess that's true.
There's some fucking bonkers places.
I guess that's true. It was probably a 3-bedroom.
A 3-bedroom. He probably got one of the fucking mansions on the beach. Probably like one of the beach, like on the boardwalk places.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you want to talk about, if you were addicted to drugs, the boardwalk is where you want to be.
Dude, okay, wait. Who did I see? Was it because it was someone from Harry Potter. I don't know Harry Potter. Like
I do. Give me some hints.
I want to say it's the blonde evil kid, the Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy, yeah.
What's his name in real life?
Tom Felton.
Does he do anything now?
He was just in a great World War II movie that I loved.
I swear to God,
The Forgotten Battle.
I think it was him.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, if not, it was someone else from Harry Potter. I was on the boardwalk with some of my girls, wearing our bikinis.
Yeah.
He apparently like lives right there or whatever. He was out high as a kite, following a pigeon around. It was the greatest.
That's my guy.
And we literally were like, no way.
That's my guy. Tom Felton's the man.
They like knew him. They were like, oh my God, it's the guy from Harry Potter. But I didn't know. But I was like, what a guy. He's just following a pigeon around.
Of all the Harry Potter people, by the way, he seems by far the most like...
I think he's chilling.
Everybody fucking loves him.
Yeah.
No, like nobody's really says any like bad things about the other cast members. He's the only one that everybody says good things about. We're like, I just love that guy.
Just a good guy.
He's just the greatest.
Oh my God. Sorry if I keep itching right now. I feel like I got bit by a bug.
Yeah, I'm really annoyed by how much you're itching yourself.
Sorry.
I don't notice these things,
don't know.
baby. You know this. You apologize to me for so many things where it's like, I would have never noticed. And even now, why would I care?
You apologize to me too. You make a noise too loud and you're like, sorry. You like flinch. I'm like, oh my God.
Well,
you okay?
Well, because a few times, I know one time you said, you got to stop doing that. You're making it sound like I hit you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get that. But a few times, like I've like it bothers you when
things slam.
Things slam.
Yeah. Well, when you do, it's clearly an accident. I would get upset if you were like a door slammer.
Yeah,
like,
fuck that. Fuck
if
those
you
people.
were like, I'm slamming the bathroom door, like that's what I can't stand. But if a window's open and when you close the door, it slams because of that. Of course, I'm not mad.
But still, I want.
If you were like a habitually slammer, I would be pissed.
But it's more like I don't want you to think that I'm slamming it on purpose, like I'm upset.
I don't think you would ever do that.
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't like. I can't picture you slamming a door, throwing a fit.
I'm pretty sure if I slammed a door, this is very arrogant, I could break a door.
I think you would too.
I don't think I can play around with that stuff.
No, definitely not.
Wait, I just had an idea though too. One of the segments one thing I've wanted to be like, one thing we should do on the podcast is just a quick segment of like, okay, so what have you been watching and what have you been listening to this week? Just to really highlight our differences.
That's why I'm excited for. We're gonna do our Spotify Wrapped today.
Yeah,
because we have such different interests.
Very, very different.
And like from not just music, but to podcasts, like whatever's going to come out, it's like we listen to starkly different things.
What is but like if you had to describe this week in it could be social media, it can be Netflix, it can be whatever, songs, it can be music. What have you been listening to this week? What have you been watching this week?
You know, I've been really into Kendrick Lamar's new album this week.
Oh, we dropped one.
Yes. Yeah. I was listening to Kendrick Lamar this week. We just came back from Thanksgiving, so I haven't really dove into a whole lot.
But like that is a sort of a tradition thing because I was going to say, what about you? I've been watching, I'm on like episode 7. I usually don't like these because usually they seem very like gimmicky, but I'm on episode 7 of I think like a 9-part series called Hitler's Evil Circle.
Oh yes, I keep seeing that every time I like open the app. So it'll say like continue watching Hitler's Evil Circle, and I'm like, what on earth are you watching?
Well, you know I love history, and I at this point I'm unapologetic too about like, well, I love World War II is the best war. It's the best story ever written.
Yeah,
it's the best story of all time. Like it's real, and it's the best story. It's literally like Game of Thrones times a million of like all the crazy shit that happened. It's fascinating, but. It's really interesting. I don't know. It's about because you hear all the stuff about old Adolf, but you don't hear about his boys.
You don't hear about the squad. You really don't.
Yeah.
You hear about the star, but you don't
Himmler,
hear about the squad.
Heydrich, Goebbels, Goring, Bormann, Speer. Yeah.
These all sound like names they would name like the hyenas in Lion King or some shit.
German names do that.
Yeah.
The German language is very sharp.
It is.
My dad used to say that there are like 2 German accents, and one is very angry.
Yeah.
And then the other one is whiny. And he's like, that's basically how they talk. It's like my dad speaks a little bit of German because he used to do like some business in Germany, or maybe he just took it as a class. I don't know. He traveled a lot for work as a kid, a lot to Japan mostly. But so one time he taught us like, this is how you say more milk, please, is mehr Milch bitte. And he was like, but you have to say it in a German accent. And then he's like, it's either mehr Milch bitte or mehr Milch bitte. Like that's how they talk. He's like, nobody.
Yeah, there's no just.
My dad was also, I don't know, I just love talking about like the German people too. It's like, he's like, there's zero sense of humor.
No, yeah, like there's like a thing called like the German stare.
Yeah,
where it's like they'll just stare at you.
They're very literal people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I also did watch that show based on a true story this week. I forgot about that, which was a show about podcasters.
I love the score of that show or the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's been good.
I've been hearing it while I work.
I put it off because when it came out at the same time as Only Murders in the Building. And so it sounded like the exact same show. And I was like, well, obviously I'm going to watch the
it's
one
pretty
with,
damn close.
with Steve Martin and Martin Short, you know?
You can't accuse it of stealing from that show because it's like, hey, the murder podcast thing is now a huge thing. More than one person's got an idea to make a show about it.
And it clearly came out at the same time. So you know that like when they found out about each other, they were like, shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but it was a good little show. And they actually were different, like much more different than I thought they were going to be. So
yeah,
the podcasters are more in on the murderer. So
yeah,
rather than them trying to find the murderer. The
soundtrack alone, I've been editing because we've just had a crazy week with a lot of content and brand deals and stuff. And I'll be upstairs and I'll hear the sound. I'm like, okay, fuck yeah, I like this one.
Kind of a little bit of a jam.
Okay, are you ready for sports gossip?
Hit me, sister.
Okay, so if you haven't seen this segment before, I love football. You don't love football. I've learned that the only way for me to communicate football with you and get you interested is if I tell you the news like it's gossip.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about how the NFC East is Sex in the City.
Ooh, my faves.
Okay, so first off, the Dallas Cowboys are Carrie Bradshaw.
Okay.
They both give off serious main character energy.
Is that a positive thing?
Well, that depends, because like Carrie Bradshaw, the Dallas Cowboys are somebody that everybody either loves or they love to hate. Nobody's indifferent about them.
No.
No matter what is happening, the Dallas Cowboys and Carrie Bradshaw somehow are able to make it about them.
Yes, kind of the narcissistic friend.
Very much so. And just how Carrie works in the media, the Dallas Cowboys, and every football fan can attest to this, basically own the media.
Ooh.
People do not shut up about the Dallas Cowboys. They both stay in relationships with men way too long.
Like Mr. Big.
Yes, like Mr. Big. And for the Dallas Cowboys, that would be Mike McCarthy and every other coach beforehand. The New York Giants are Samantha.
Ooh.
They're both slightly older than the rest of the crew, and they're definitely the slutty ones.
Love that.
I mean, I looked it up. Samantha went through 41 guys in 6 seasons. The Giants have gone through 6 coaches in 10 seasons, and they're probably going to get a 7th one next year.
Light work.
That's really good though. And also their most recent relationship was with like a younger man.
Like Smith.
Yeah. And like for the Giants would be Daniel Jones. When they broke up, it was very amicable in a sense. Okay. Like it was sad, but it was also very amicable. And they released them in a way so that like they could pursue their own dreams as, you know.
Yeah. Follow your career.
Follow your career. Chase your passions.
Yeah.
You know, so the Vikings can sign Daniel Jones and so Smith can do, I forget what he ends up doing.
He's modeling and acting. And
basically the same thing as DJ.
Daniel Jones and Samantha Jones.
The Washington Commanders are Charlotte.
The sweet one.
I don't know if I would really say that, but they both got out of like long-term relationships, you know, toxic relationships with men that were a little bit weird. And everybody was like, I don't really know if he's the right one.
He was trying to get her to sign a prenup.
Yeah. And Dan Snyder was doing really terrible stuff.
Yeah.
And now they're with a relatively normal guy. And it's kind of hard to tell, like, is he as amazing as he seems? Or is he just like, does he seem like a saint? Because compared to the last guy, he really is one.
Yeah.
And also they both made really big decisions where they were like, you know what? Time for a rebound. Charlotte became Jewish and the Washington Redskins became the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
And then lastly, the Philadelphia Eagles are Miranda. They're both the assholes of the group.
Kind of the more aggressive ones.
Yeah. Like I was going to say like they're both like the bitches of the group, but it's like it's used in different connotations because it's like the Eagles are definitely not the bitches of the NFC East. They're probably the toughest team. They're definitely the toughest team right now, I'd say. But bitches in the way where it's like kind of like...
You're a bitch.
Like kind of like fuck those guys a little bit. At least that's the way the other teams feel.
Yeah.
Like everybody like... all the rivals, they all hate each other. They hate the Eagles. Mostly because the Eagles fans are they're assholes is what they are. You know, and they're proud of being assholes. And, you know, like they'll be in our comments and they'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're assholes. And it's like, you know, that's how they own it. Compared to the other three, both the Eagles and Miranda are by far the most organized as far as like just typical, you know, planning for the future and stuff goes.
She's a lawyer.
They have Howie Roseman. I mean, yeah, like they're very put together, especially compared to like the Giants right now. But that's not to say that they're not prone to, you know, like leaving the men that everybody thought that they'd stick with forever, you know, and then immediately sticking with whoever their first rebound was.
Just how she left Steve.
And the Eagles left Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson.
Okay.
And so there you go. The NFC East is Sex in the City.
Big is moving to Paris.
It's so, you know what's so funny is, should I even still do this in the gossip voice? Basically talking about.
You could lose it if you want.
What's funny is, so doing these sports gossips for the NFL, I am a very passionate NFL fan.
Yeah.
I actually know what I'm talking about. I can go way, it's hard for me.
It's Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec when he goes to Home Depot.
Yes.
And he's like, I know more than you.
Yes.
That's how I feel in Sephora. But
yes. That's how I feel in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm such a douche. Because I'm so passionate about the NFL, you can tell when I do these division ones, how passionate I am about the teams.
Yeah.
So like, I hate the New England Patriots. So I was going to fucking roast the shit of them last week.
Yeah.
I don't really hate the New York Jets, but they're rough.
Yeah.
Like I sympathize with them. The Dolphins I don't really care as much about, but like the NFC West, or the AFC West with that we did the first week with like, the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Chargers, everybody was upset. And they're like, nobody loves the Raiders. And it's like, where I'm from, nobody gives a fuck about it.
That's what I was always thinking is like, who thinks about the Raiders, honestly?
Well, I mean, I do every single day, but not in a negative way.
No, that's what I mean by like, because they just don't have a good track record. It's like, why would you even think about them? And it's the thing of like, I think that video fed out obviously to the people who
the AFC West people,
like the Chiefs or whatever. They're like, we all hate the Raiders. Nobody hates the Raiders.
Nobody hates the Raiders.
I grew up a Raider fan.
Yeah, the best the Raiders have been in my lifetime that I can remember. Where it's actually kind of cool. I think honestly, probably closer to 10 years ago, which is crazy. They had their offense was really, really good. And their offense was basically called ACDC because their quarterback, they had a star wide receiver named Amari Cooper. So AC, and their quarterback was Derek Carr.
Fun.
And they were like a really good tandem. So it's like ACDC. It's like, I mean, that's a nickname. And then they both eventually got traded or signed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raiders are a mess.
Yeah, but they're fun. They're whimsical.
They are.
Everybody loves them.
Everybody loves them. Everybody. I also have people like, only people, all the comments like, only people in Vegas like the Raiders. And I was like, first off,
that's so untrue.
They do, but also all of Los Angeles are Raiders fans.
Yeah.
There are 12 Los Angeles Rams fans, and most of them are related to people on the team.
Yes.
Nobody's a Rams fan.
I love the LA sports team thing because it really is like, who like the Dodgers are an example where it's like, no, I guess a grouping like, oh yeah, the Dodgers because I'm from LA, but like it was just because they were there, and they have so much money and so they're good. So we just keep like, oh yeah, the Dodgers.
I mean, it'll be interesting. So right now we're basically just doing football gossip.
Yeah, we're gonna move into other sports soon, hopefully.
So I know just as much about baseball as I do about football.
Yeah, you love baseball.
I love baseball.
One of our first dates was
one of our first few dates.
Yeah.
We went to multiple Washington Nationals playoff games.
And they won when I was there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But we've been to more games too, and they don't always win as much as I. And the reason why
I think they only lost once when I was there.
But the reason why I'm saying this is because if I actually did believe that when you're at a game,
they win,
we would go to every single game.
We would move to DC for the season.
We'd travel with the team.
Yeah.
We would just be like, yeah, let me on the flight.
I know.
My wife is the key to fucking winning.
It's true.
It's worth it.
All I'm saying is they've never won anything until
that's true.
I started dating you. So
yeah.
I'll take a little bit of cred for that.
I've always said I think that might have been the peak of my life. I started dating you. I was so happy. I was so happy dating you. And my favorite sports team won the World Series in the most dramatic fashion. There was not one, actually the NLCS, we've swept the Cardinals, but the rest of it was like as dramatic as it can possibly get. It was all heart attack. And any fan who says they don't want the heart attack games is a fan of the team that lost the heart attack games.
Yeah.
Because while it's happening, I would do anything to have a sweep. I would wish we had swept the Astros while it was happening. Afterwards, I would not change a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I'm happy we lost 3 in a row at home. We're going to stop talking about sports. This isn't a sports podcast.
Yeah, but
that's not really our demo.
But a lot of people come here for sports, I feel like.
That's true.
Now, yeah, that seems to be our popular segment. So I was going to say, speaking of, because I think last episode or the episode before, I was like, tell me some stuff you guys are interested in, because I can't get a grasp.
Yeah.
Because we have such...
Who are you?
Yeah. Who's listening to us? Because we have such... And I am so sorry we talk about demographics and analytics in every episode. That's just like how we're programmed because it's our stupid job. But like on our personal pages, we are so male heavy for both of us. Just because I'm an Instagram girl and you're a guy
male
comedian.
sketch comedian.
Yeah. And so it's like we both have basically 90% male
Men.
followers.
Yeah.
The 10% is our friends and family. But... of women
we are related to.
I pretty much know all 10% of my women followers.
Yes.
And
all 30,000 female followers. Yeah.
Yes.
35,000.
I know. And, but then, so with sports gossip, our like podcasts, social medias have become majority women, which are interesting. But then for the actual podcast, I don't think it's majority women yet. I think it's kind of closer to 50-50. Like and so it's kind of like this weird melting pot of I don't know who's who. But anyways.
What are you listening for?
Yeah, what are you listening for? But I didn't realize that we get a Spotify rap as like creators to kind of like see. So we got some data on you guys finally.
Yeah.
And it like showed me the age ranges. And I actually was kind of shocked that we didn't have more of like the younger crowd a little bit, but I'm happily pleased with basically
I'm thrilled.
It's 30 to 44 is our biggest demographic.
We are the millennial podcast.
Yeah. Hey, millennials.
Like, I don't want to say.
Sorry to make fun of you so much.
Like, I don't want to say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say it. I don't want Zoomers listening to our show.
You don't want the Zoomers?
I don't want them. I think that they're bad. I think that they're a cancer to the planet. And I think that I'm just, like all millennials, just really waiting for Gen Alpha to come and take the throne.
Yeah.
Gen Alpha is going to run the show.
You think so?
I do have a theory about generations, though. I think I've told you this, Bill. I think that Gen Xers, unless you have kids like really young, like Gen Xers, boomers, children are millennials. Like they skip generations, basically.
Yeah.
So like Gen X's kids are Gen Z. And then Gen Alpha are the kids of millennials and stuff. I think that because how important it is, it's so important how you are raised, whoever's like your parents are. That's why I think like baby boomers and millennials are more similar, and Gen X and Gen Z, the generations that are more like kind of like fuck society, the system's broken.
And I guess millennials and boomers are more like
we can do anything.
Like girl boss, like like the work hard, play hard movement more.
There's toxicness to it, but there's also
toxic to both. Both ways to look at things.
The Gen Z and Gen X seem to be in general more apathetic and more like fuck this.
Yeah.
And the millennials and the boomers are more like you can pull yourselves up by your bootstraps.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. And I also think it's like, okay, well, what's the world like? I'm so weird. I read this book where it's basically
You're so weird. You read?
Well, let me describe the book. It's a whole book written about how we, like as society, especially as a country, we go in cycles. And so there's 2 cycles where every 70 years, there's a major political shift.
Yeah.
Like basically every 70 years, the political parties switch. And every 50 years, I might be getting this wrong. It might be 50 years, the political party switch or something. But like 50 years, there's a major cultural revolution. And we're basically approaching, I forget what the year is. I think it might be 2028 is the first time where the 50 and 70 are going to meet.
Oh.
So it's like if you
I could see that.
If you follow, because it's like, basically if you go through it, it's like, okay, Revolutionary War. And then, so it must have been every 80 years, there's a major shift because it was like the Revolutionary War to the Civil War to World War II are all 80 years apart. And so the 2020s are whatever the next shift is. And I read an entire book about this a while ago. That's why I don't remember all the exact details, but it was interesting. And so
that is interesting because it is true. And you could definitely, I've been feeling for like the past year or two, like the kind of like the shift. Yeah. The political party shift to time. And I guess it was like an election year. So it's like that it's just so in your face. But like what's switching, but like it feels more obvious to me that things are.
Well, because it used to be in election years, it was like, you have the Republicans and they believe this set of stuff, and you have the Democrats and they believe this set of stuff. Nobody's talking about how vague it is now. Yeah. The fact that the Republicans are the anti-war party, and now like the hey, get chemicals out of our food party, like those were the 2 of the biggest points the Democrats had in the 2000s and 2010s. Yeah. And because they're so, hey, we hate the other side, fucking Democrats, I really hope they don't do that.
They need a really good...
Don't make the mistake of being like, hey, I guess since the other side's anti-war, we're pro-war.
Yeah, like that's what it feels like now, like, which is, I don't know.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just so shitty. It's like what we need is like a really good, like, Obama type figure to like come back, where it's like, it's a new young person who isn't, like, obviously like Obama's like a fantastic politician, but like just doesn't seem as like old guard politician type.
Yeah.
And like, because that is thankfully the next election year should be to new younger people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that will kind of bring back a little bit with each party.
I was thinking, I actually was like, it doesn't really work as well, but I've been thinking about like, there's kind of like a weird like sports politics thing. Cause I have a really good analogy for basically my description for what the Democrats should do right now.
Okay.
Can I give you the quick pitch?
Sure.
So basically, and I'm not even going to do it in the voice because it doesn't really make any sense. I'm not doing it like gossip. I'm doing it like, this is my...
Do you mean like you could do basically politics gossip?
But like connecting it with sports.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
because I was going to say, like, we have, I don't want to overdo the gossip segment.
No.
But there's so many things you can explain to me in the gossip form. Like, which is what's like, damn.
In fact, there's a lot of things like, most political things I could explain like it's gossip.
I know. Like, that's the thing is like...
But it feels kind of patronizing if I do it because it's like, well, women... A lot of women follow politics.
A lot more women follow politics than sports. Yeah.
Way
and so
more.
It feels...
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a problem for another day for us to crack.
And also politics are a lot more understandable and easily explainable. Whereas like the rules of football, unless you follow football...
You just don't know.
Don't make any sense. Yeah. Like
when you were explaining to me basically like the college playoff.
Yeah. We're going to do rules, a sports gossip about that.
I was like, you need to stop talking. I was like, you're stressing me out.
We're going to do I've been trying to figure out like how I could gossipify that because it is really so insane, but it's like, I don't even know if I could explain because it's so complicated. It's so stupid. It's so subjective.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Anyways.
But okay. So the Democratic Party right now is like the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Okay. So the Cincinnati Bengals, they drafted Joe Burrow.
I know Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Cool. Women love him, right?
Ladies love him.
He's incredibly handsome. I will say that.
He's Joe Burrow.
He also has like a magnetism to him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is about it, but it's like he's one of those things where it's like girls want him, guys want to be him. Like that's everything.
He's cool. He's also very private because I remember last year there was all the rumors of not only did he have a girlfriend, but he actually had a fiance and he was about to get married. Like there was pictures of him of like assumed bachelor trip for him. Like
he's a really great guy too.
He seems like a really good guy.
Yeah.
But nothing came out about him getting married. So I'm like, maybe not. Like, I don't know.
Maybe. He's awesome.
He seems cool.
My dad is like his biggest fan. I'm more of a Josh Allen guy, but that's play style.
Josh Allen.
That's a play style thing. Go Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Democrats right now are like the Bengals.
Okay.
So 5 years ago, I think Joe Burrow was drafted first overall. Joe Burrow was drafted first overall. His first season, he played really well. He got hurt at the end of the season. The Bengals didn't make the playoffs, but it was like, okay, no, the first pick was great. He's really good. I believe it was the next year. He took the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl. And we watched it on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
In Santa Rosa. And they just lost to the Rams. It was really, really close. They just lost to the Rams. Their head coach is a guy named Zach Taylor. He's a terrible head coach.
Okay.
But, and all of their offensive coordinator, I'm forgetting his name, their defensive coordinator is terrible. They tried to rebuild their offensive line. They tried to rebuild their defense because they're both really, really bad. Nothing's worked. So clearly their GM is not good at all either. The Bengals so after this season, they know that they have, there are a lot of arguments you can make where Joe Burrow is at the very least the second best quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Usually when you have the second best quarterback in the NFL, you're a shoo-in to make the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
You're not on the Bengals because Joe Burrow is having basically an MVP season right now, but I think they've only won 4 games. They're not doing well because no matter how much he scores, their defense basically doesn't exist. So other teams are scoring a lot too. Anyway, the point is the Bengals aren't doing well. They have this star. And because this star took them to the Super Bowl a few years ago, everybody's that works in the organization has been given the benefit of the doubt where it's like, well, we can't fire Zach Taylor. He took us to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But Zach Taylor's terrible. He's going to get fired now. This is the final straw. If he doesn't, that's crazy. This is the Democratic Party. Joe Burrow is Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Okay. Barack Obama won in 2008, it was a sweeping election.
Yeah.
You want to talk about having a mandate. I forget the electoral college votes he had or the popular vote he had, but it was insane. Like the Democrats ran everything. They won the House. They won the Senate. They absolutely dominated. And ever since then, James Carville wrote a book basically about how the Democrats are literally never going to lose again because they have this system and it's over. They won.
Yeah.
Of course, that wasn't true. Ever since then, the Democratic Party, it just reminds me of the Bengals, where it's like you have all of Obama's people. His campaign staffers made Pod Save America.
Yeah.
He basically is the king of the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton was the nominee in 2016 because he said it's Hillary's turn.
Yeah.
Joe Biden was the nominee in 2020 because he said it's Biden's turn.
Yeah.
Biden dropped out, and obviously there are Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they're involved as well. You could compare them to the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators of the Bengals. Obviously, Obama's team, they also picked Biden to drop out and Kamala to step in. All of these things. And I know that's kind of great. We'll know more of the truth of that as time goes on and people start saying stuff. But the point I'm making is the Democrats right now keep on being like, but we just won this. We were just in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but not because of any of these people. I'm pretty sure Obama has lifted up a lot of really mediocre people in that party.
Yes.
And if they keep on going, being like, we just need the Obama coalition, it's like, if he's not the candidate, if Joe Burrow's not the quarterback, like if Joe Burrow wasn't the quarterback for the Bengals right now, they probably would not have won a game so far.
Yeah.
He's
carrying
the team.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow can be the quarterback next season. Obama can't be the candidate next election.
No, he can't.
So fire the fucking coach. The Democrats literally need to do what the Bengals are hopefully going to do, which is clean house.
Yeah.
Start over.
Be done. Get some new people.
Get some fresh blood. And anybody who was attached, like this sounds super harsh, but it's like anybody who was attached to the Obama administration, I'm going to assume they're not as good as we think they are, because I really think Obama was just this unbelievable one. I mean, he was such a good speaker. He was such a good speaker that there were like a lot of real conspiracy theories being like, he's the Antichrist. They're like,
yeah,
because apparently I love reading about the Antichrist.
I know. I also love that they were like, it's Mr. Beast, so now everyone's turned against Mr. Beast. So
yeah, I don't think. No offense to Mr. Beast. I don't think, and I shouldn't say anything. I almost worked for them.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
We have a decent relationship with Team Beast.
I really like Mr. Beast.
Actually, yeah.
I really like.
There's a lot of good people who work there.
You know what I think a fair thing to say is, though? I don't think, and Mr. Beast I think would get this, I don't think that if the Antichrist was coming, he would choose to look like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that, like, not that Mr. Beast is ugly. He's not. But he's not George Clooney, and I feel like the Antichrist would come as George Clooney.
Yeah, that's like what Obama has. Like, he's a handsome man.
Obama's very handsome.
Like, I had an Obama calendar.
Like,
I had an Obama's calendar.
Yes.
Like, I had where it was like every month it was different picture of the Obamas. I love the Obamas.
Like, put it this way, I'm not saying I don't like Obama. I'm just like, with most politicians, I'm not really a fan of anybody in politics.
No, absolutely.
I'm very distant from. So like
I don't agree with everything Obama did, but I'm like, the Obamas are so whimsical. I love the Obamas.
Of course.
He's so likable. There's never been a video of Obama or like speaking or anything where I've not been like, man, I love that guy.
So for the most part, I, from the beginning was like, I wasn't out on Obama, but I was a little bit like, because I'm one of my skills is in doing impressions and stuff. Mm-hmm. I can mimic a lot of people. And Obama does this one thing that drives me a little bit nuts, where he scripts that things are off the cuff.
Yes.
He has,
yeah.
And the people.
Yeah.
Like, he does that. I know it's in a teleprompter.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of what he's doing. And that really set me off, not set me off, but like kind of made me like, okay, so this guy's a salesman, which they all are.
Yeah.
To be fair.
You have to be a politician. You have to sell yourself.
But he's a really good salesman, which makes me be like, okay.
What do you do?
But meanwhile, like after the Boston Marathon bombing,
I was just going to say,
his
speech
sucked.
after that, I'm
not from Boston. When he said not in Boston, I was like crying.
That was one of his best moments.
And he had a lot of good ones.
He had so many good moments. And that's one of those moments where it's like, I feel like that was one of his strongest moments. Like, it was so strong. It was such a, like, never forget moment type of thing.
Yes.
And he was just so good. And I like weirdly, I feel like no one talks about that anymore. Like him speaking.
Yes.
Was so good. And like, that's where I'm like, that's a leader. And like, that's what you want to see. I'm like, Joe Biden couldn't have done that.
And you know what's funny is that right before him, a very different figure, George W. Bush, was also unbelievable at speaking.
Yes.
Because next to Obama saying, not in Boston in the church, which is like, oh my God, it's gonna make me cry again. It's amazing. I'm not even from Boston. In fact, I kind of if I was from Boston, I would love Boston, but because of their sports teams, I kind of hate Boston.
I love Boston. I kind of like
You don't have the sports thing though.
I know, but I like the whimsy of
it's
people.
Fun. Oh yeah.
You know?
Have it, yeah. They talk funny.
Yeah.
But George, the only thing that can compete before JFK, because obviously JFK was the king of all this, was George W. Bush after 9/11 at ground zero with a megaphone that wasn't really working and saying, a bunch of people were basically saying like, we can't hear you. And he just immediately responded, I can hear you. And it's like,
yeah.
I mean, that's politics, baby.
Yeah.
Those are two, we don't make them like that anymore.
No.
And so now, like, look at the last three candidates. Like, think about how good Obama was at communicating. And then put him next to nasally Hillary Clinton, who...
I love my girl Hill.
You love her because she's a girl boss.
I love my girl boss.
You want to talk about talking down to people? Everything she said to people was kind of like, listen, idiots. Yeah. Like, it was like that. She had the Al Gore problem. Al Gore had that too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you're very, very smart. Stop acting like we're idiots just because you're smart. And I'm not saying anything except for like, that's not a good political way of speaking.
Of tone, yeah.
Biden, who used to be unbelievable at speaking because he was a real man of the people.
Yes.
Scranton Joe. And now, I mean, he can't fucking talk. He fell asleep he's in Africa right now. He's in Africa right now, and he literally fell asleep. There's a video of him in a meeting with like all these African leaders like this. It's like, what are we doing?
He's Sleepy Joe.
And then Kamala is probably the worst of all of them.
Yeah.
It's at communicating.
But like, yeah, because it's like the type of thing where it's like, if there was like another big tragedy thing like that, it's like, I don't want Joe speaking there. I don't want Kamala speaking there. I don't want Trump speaking there.
No.
Honestly,
though, of all of them, Trump would probably be the best one.
He would, but
to deliver it, he wouldn't be good, but he'd be the best one of them.
It's just a thing where it's like whatever he would say would somehow come off like a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah,
and like that's why I'd be like, I wouldn't want him there for that moment.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But basically, what I'm saying though is to wrap this all up. And that's a good way to put it, where it's like, okay, the last three Democratic candidates. And it's like, yeah, Biden won, but Biden won in, if I'm going to do a sports analogy, Biden won in 2020. I'm not saying it was rigged. It wasn't whatsoever. Election was valid. But there were there were different rules in that election. The best thing I could compare it to is when the Dodgers and the Lakers won the World Series and NBA Finals in the COVID year. The Dodgers played in the shortened season where there was 1 billion playoff teams added, and then the NBA season was in the NBA bubble thing. It was weird, different rules. Both of those wins, people are like, no, they're championships, but they're not the same.
They don't, yeah.
There's an asterisk.
Yeah.
Biden won in the election where everybody was sent a mail-in ballot. It's like, yeah, there's just different things to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, if I was the DNC, the worst thing they can do is think, how do we repeat the Biden win? Because that's never going to be repeated unless there's another pandemic and you're facing another guy who's as polarizing as Trump. Basically, what the Democrats have been doing is, after Obama, after they basically have been like the Bengals, where if every season the Bengals, now that Burrow can't be their quarterback, are putting in Mason Rudolph, and then the next year they're putting in Tommy DeVito, and then the next year they're putting in Aiden O'Connell, and they're like, what? Why can't we go back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
It's like, because it wasn't the team that brought you to the Super Bowl. It was Obama. It was Joe Burrow. Stop. Like, you got to learn that lesson. Anyway, I've been thinking about that for a while, and I was like, I don't know if I could do that on the podcast, but I just did.
Yeah, you did. And I guess while we're speaking about politics still, I kind of forgot to finish my thought earlier with Hunter Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking of course Joe Biden pardoned him.
Of course he did.
And he should.
Yeah.
Especially the way he got pushed out. I'd be so pissed if I was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone. Of course pardon him.
Of course.
And that's just one of those things where I'm like, I really don't care. Like all of there's certain things in politics where I'm like, I feel like the political world is so like, let's make this the thing. And as the people, I'm like, I don't care.
No.
I don't care that Trump slept with Stormy Daniel.
No.
I don't care that.
That's why I was saying the murder thing though.
Yeah.
Was like, what if he did murder somebody?
Yeah, then that would be crazy.
And
but that's
but he didn't do that we know of.
But so that's why I'm like, I don't care. I almost like don't want any of our justice system to be like, it's time wasted on stuff like this that's going to be dragged out because it's polarized and all this. It's like, spend that time on other stuff that actually matters. Like Hunter Biden, it's like, yeah, he was like, it was the kid of a politician, like just all these things. It's like, there are certain types of people who are going to get away with stuff, period, regardless.
Yeah.
Why waste our time and energy trying to make a spectacle of this when it's like, okay, yeah, he would have gone to jail. Then what? Okay.
I would be way more upset. Like it's the, I forget what person said it, but it's the, I'd rather 100 guilty men go free than one innocent man go to jail.
Absolutely.
I don't obviously like when a guilty person gets off scot-free.
No.
But it doesn't bother me. That's not the type of injustice that I think really bothers people. That's why I am so and it took me a long time to come to the opinion of the I'm against the death penalty because I'm like a big crime person or whatever. But I'm just the chance of people being innocent is just not worth it to me. Yeah. And then the only argument against that is, what about the people that we know are guilty? Yeah. And the answer to that for the honestly, do you want to know the real answer of like, if we just were to take it all out of it, it is so expensive. I know. It is so expensive. And it's a really long process. Such a long process. It's so expensive to have people on death row. Like people on death row are on death row for like 40 years. Yeah. It's like at that point, just let them die in prison and think about what they did for the rest of their lives. I wonder how many people on death row die before. I'd say most. You think so? Probably. Yeah, maybe. They're on it for a long time. It's such a long wait, but yeah, we're not gonna have that. This is a fun podcast. The only thing I've seen of people being upset though are actually it's not none of the people ever, like the Republicans and the Republican fans or supporters or whatever are like kind of loving it because it's like, yeah, fuck. See, I've seen all the comments, all comment sections and everything has been pretty like, yeah. The only people who I've seen actually be upset about it are Democrats, like Democratic politicians. Yeah. Especially people who work in the White House and the White House administration, and people who used to. I'm talking about like the Pod Save America people. Yeah. Where they all say the same thing where it's like, I get why he did it. What they're upset about is that they lied. They lied for him. Yeah. Which that I get. That they're all sucks. They're upset about that. That does suck. I will say that. Because like Karine Jean-Pierre, who I don't even know why she's still the press secretary. I feel like Trump kind of had it right where it's like, switch him out every 6 weeks. Yeah. Like put in a new fresh fighter. He treats them like relief pitchers where it's like, let every inning, every few batters throw in somebody else. Yeah. Whoever for the occasion. And sometimes he used to bring them back too. It's like, and Sean Spicer's back. Yeah. Like, fuck it. This guy's got fresh legs now. You want to do, go over our Spotify Wraps? Yeah, I was going to say. So yeah, today Spotify Wrap came out for us today. We're shooting on a Wednesday. And so we have not been looking at ours and it's been killing me because I don't want to reveal it on the podcast. Who do you think is going to be your top artist? Okay. So before we even look, here's the deal. Okay. Here's the deal. I'm serious. Here's the deal. And this is something I've been wanting to say for a long time, but I'm finally brave enough to say it. Okay. I'm pretty sure I know for a fact what my most listened to artist is, and I know for a fact what my most listened to song is. Ooh. The only reason why I'm actually not sure if it's my number one on Spotify Wrapped is because I've listened to this song in so many different forms. I love live music. Yeah, you do. Live in concert. And this song happens to be a song that's been played in many live albums. And so I'm kind of dancing around it. And also I've recently going to the gym, started just basically putting on YouTube videos, like YouTube music, watching the live concerts on YouTube. Yeah. And so I don't think it really influenced. It's not gonna add up to what you've truly been listening to. Yeah, but if you really summed up this one song, it would be Animals by Nickelback. Okay. I listened to that song I think 10,000 times this year. I love that song so much. I love Nickelback so much. I know you do. And here's the thing. this is something that needs to be addressed. Nickelback is really good.
They are.
They're legitimately very good.
Yeah.
At some point, it became not cool to say you like Nickelback.
Yeah.
And worse yet, it became cool to say you hated Nickelback and that Nickelback sucked. I think the best comparison I can think of is there was a time when everyone thought that the sun revolved around the earth and not the other way around.
Okay.
And they thought this because the scientists, the leaders, the influencers of, if you will, of the day, would basically, they said it. And so people just sort of took it as gospel. This is the way it works. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who did it. I don't know who started it, but it really does feel like the influencers, the top minds, the scientists of our day have been telling people that Nickelback is bad.
Yeah.
And just like the scientists who thought the sun revolved around the earth, those people are wrong. The people who have been telling you that Nickelback is bad are wrong. They're incorrect.
And we're here to fact check today.
They're lying to you.
They're lying.
They're lying to all of us. Everything that they've ever told you, everything. I mean, like literally everything. Any of those people, anybody who's ever told you Nickelback is bad, anything they've said to you, you need to re-examine those statements and don't believe them necessarily. Start questioning everything they've ever said. Oh, money is green. Oranges are orange. I don't know anymore because you told me Nickelback is bad, and that's a lie.
It's a blatant lie.
It's a blatant lie.
Wake up, sheeple.
Wake up. It's just not true. It's just not. Chad Kroeger is a musical genius.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of pretending he's not. I'm tired of living in the shadows. And I think
come out, sister.
I think a lot of people are going to come out and they just are waiting. They're waiting for somebody to say it.
And you're going to say it.
And I might not survive this. And that's okay because I'm the first, but I won't be the last.
No. And you're going to stand 10 toes down on that opinion.
10 toes down. I know it for a fact. 1 + 1 = 2. Nickelback is really, really good. And so I don't know if they'll be my top artists on Spotify. I don't even know if Animals will be in my top 100 because again, I've listened to so many different versions of it.
Yeah.
Almost all an equal amount of times. And I've watched it so many times on YouTube as well as their full concerts because they're fantastic and they're really good. Scientifically, mathematically, they're really good at music.
Okay,
there's no debating. So that's my number one.
Spiritually, that's your number one.
That is my number one. Okay. But I don't think it'll be on my Spotify Wrapped now that I think about it.
You don't think so?
I have just because we moved in March, April. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've basically just been watching YouTube videos in the gym. What's your top one, you think?
God, I'm trying to think what happened this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I think my number one might be Charlie XCX, just because I was really bumping that this summer.
Yeah.
And I still really bump it. I probably listen to at least one Charlie XCX song a day.
Yeah.
Even though I don't listen to music every day, I probably at least.
You make time for
I make time for Charlie.
You make time for a Brat summer.
I do.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
It is.
So I think
it's going to church. You're going to do it. You're going to go to Charlie XCX once a day.
Yeah.
It's ritual.
So I don't know what my top song will be.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I don't know. So maybe a Charlie XCX song.
I could see that. It
might be Guess with Billie Eilish.
You know what's funny? I don't know. So besides Guess now, is there a song called Brat Girl Summer?
No, the album's name is just Brat.
I don't know if I could name one of her songs.
So
I'd recognize them for sure.
The Blank Girl Summer.
Yeah, they're just going to start with Hot Girl Summer.
Start with Hot Girl Summer. Yeah. And so
then White Boy Summer.
Yeah. So Megan Thee Stallion started Hot Girl Summer.
Yeah.
And and now everything's a Blank Girl Summer, a Blank Girl Winter, a Blank Girl Autumn. So Megan Thee Stallion, we have to think for a blank something season. So should we just, is there anything else we should predict ahead of time? Do you know what your top podcast will be? I'm guessing
my top podcast it won't be the most episodes listened to, but I'm guessing it'll be Joe Rogan. Because Joe Rogan's episodes are because I'll listen to anytime there's a really good, interesting guest or something. I always listen to Joe Rogan episode with the good guest.
Yeah. Oh, and then after we do ours, I'm going to go over some of the information I got about you guys.
Yeah, about you.
On Spotify.
Putting you on blast.
On Spotify, at least if you're watching this on YouTube or Apple Music. Sorry. But
yeah.
Spotify listeners, I'm sure it's similar across the board.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like every Joe Rogan episode is like 5 hours long. So I'll listen to like, probably once a month I'll listen to a Joe Rogan episode. And it's like, every year I'm always like, how is that? And everyone's like, oh yeah, because all my other podcasts I listen to more often are like 45 minutes an hour.
I guess. Yeah. I think mine will just be my Reddit stories. I listen to my guy, shout out Mark Narrations. He's a Reddit story guy.
Have you ever thought about like...
I have no idea what he looks like. He's one of those people who have he's like anonymous, but he has like a cartoon drawing of him on there. He's a British guy. I love his voice. Like I love the way he reads things.
I can do a good impression of him too. I got to listen to him one more time. But every time he's on, it's like...
But he uploads... usually once or twice a day, and I listen. Yeah, because they're short. They're like 45 minutes.
They're just cash pumping machines.
Yeah, it's genius.
Says not the asshole. Says you are the asshole. That's not okay. If you ever listen to him, I'm nailing it though. That's not okay. When your mother-in-law speaks to you like that, it's not fair, and your husband should stick up. And it's always about the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay. Spotify Wrapped.
Let's see. Okay. You listened for 42,000 minutes this year.
You listened to 41,000 minutes this year.
Ooh. I beat you by 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Next slide. That looks like a vagina graphic.
This all looks like vagina graphics,
That's
baby.
so true. Okay. I was right. My top song was Guess featuring Billie Eilish.
There you go. Was the Billie Eilish version the original version or it's the remix?
It's the remix.
I love it. My top song actually was Waymaker, Live at Bethel by the McClures. Now, if you never heard of the song, it's not as funny. It's the song that, it's a really beautiful song. It's actually a religious song. It was the song that basically was played throughout my one of my high school friend's funeral.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a really good song.
Yeah. Okay. Your top songs. My 1 and 2 seem right. 3 through 5 don't.
Mine are fantastic.
What are yours?
So I got number 1 is Waymaker, that one we talked about.
Uh-huh.
Number 2 is an awesome song called Thrash Unreal by Against Me. It's thrash metal. It's kind of more like post-grunge. Number 3 is The Last Stand by Sabaton. Okay. Now, this is a song I've played for you before. It's about the Crusades. Sabaton's a historical metal band. All of their music is basically... People who are listening to this, some people know Sabaton, like fucking love Sabaton. Yeah. It's like watching it's like when you watch like a war documentary.
Oh, is this the historical rock band? Okay.
They're awesome. So basically it's a song where it's just sort of historical facts in musical form. And it's awesome. Like before you knock it, like listen to it and then try to run a mile and see how quickly you break your time. Number 4, Then the Morning Comes by Smash Mouth.
Okay.
That song's really good too.
That is a really good song.
Yeah. And then number 5, Something Wonderful by Seaway. And that's a sort of like a new punk group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So my number 1 was Guess. 2 was Alter Ego by Doechii and JT, which you like that song. We play it in the gym.
Yeah.
3 was Hiss by Megan Thee Stallion, which I definitely listened to. But I guess, I listened to it a ton in the beginning of the year. So maybe that was what started the whole drama with like Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
That song.
That's the one where it's like
with Megan's
on
Law.
your dead mama. That's what Nicki did.
That's what Nicki said. Yeah. Nicki said on your dead mama. 4 was Like What Freestyle by Cardi B. Mm-hmm. I feel like I guess I've listened to that a handful of times. Mm-hmm. And then 5 was Illusion by Dua Lipa. Okay, my top podcast topic was society and culture.
Mine was news. Who would have thought?
Okay, top podcasts. Who you got?
Yep, Joe Rogan.
That was your number 1? Mm-hmm. That's so interesting to me because I don't feel like I ever hear you listening to him.
I don't, but when I do, it's 5 hours.
I guess.
I think that this is not by episodes listened to.
But you listen to so many sports podcasts like every day.
Yeah, there's 2 sports podcasts on here.
Okay, but yeah, what's your next?
Then The Rewatchables, which is a movie podcast. Mm-hmm. Bill Simmons' podcast is a shout out to The Ringer. I got 3 Ringer podcasts in here. Sports podcast. The Ringer Fantasy Football Show, which is a sports podcast. Number 5, The Tucker Carlson Show.
Tucker.
I listened to all the news podcasts and his are the longest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He also had, he's, say what you want, take everything he says with a grain of salt. He has really good conversations. He's a really good interviewer. Kind of like Joe Rogan, where it's like, they don't just talk about the politics thing. So it's kind of interesting. It's like him talking to, he had a thing with Chris Cuomo. And I was like, don't these guys fucking hate each other?
Yeah.
One of the best podcasts I've ever listened to.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I have, Mark Narrations. Mm-hmm. He's my number 1. He's the guy I listen to every day. I have 2 of Smosh Reads Reddit stories. 3 of The Girls Bathroom, which is a British Girls podcast. If you're a girly, I recommend them. I basically just have Reddit podcasts.
It's so funny. You basically just listen to Reddit stories. What's funny is I'm on Reddit and I've read all the stories.
Because the Girls Bathroom one is just basically people sending in, here's my dilemma. So it's the same thing.
You're just listening to people sending in their dilemmas and people answering them.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, baby, that's a great segment.
It's just so like, whatever. I like to just throw it on. I can turn it off whenever.
I had one special place in my heart and ears. Who's your number 1 artist?
Charlie XCX was your top artist this year.
The Eagles. We need to put all these and just be like, we keep on saying we're very different. This nothing highlights more how different we are.
Have we seen the Eagles twice this year?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I love the Eagles.
The Eagles were banned in my house. My dad hates the Eagles.
My dad loves the Eagles.
It was so funny finding out that you were such a big Eagles fan because I was like, I actually know nothing about them because anytime they would come on, my dad was like, fuck this, and turn it off. I was hoping I'd be higher up than this. I'm a top 4% fan of Charlie XCX. I was hoping I'd be higher.
You know what though, baby? When you're playing in the big leagues with an artist like that who's getting billions of listens.
But I was going to say, because I think it was last year, I was like in the top 1% of Nicki Minaj listeners, which is pretty crazy.
I'm only a top 6% fan. The Eagles they must have been barely my number 1 artist. I'm in a top 6 fan of the Eagles. We spent 161 minutes together. So basically almost a little bit less than 3 hours of listening to the Eagles.
Yeah.
That can't be top 6.
Okay, let's see. Who are your top artists? Oh, I totally forgot about this one. Okay, so my number 1 was Charlie XCX. My number 2 was the Joey Valance and Bray. They're the guys who are, which I'm like, they need a new name.
Beastie Boys guys.
They're the guys who are basically the new Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
They're so fucking good. So good.
My top artists. I'm going to screenshot this.
Okay, and then I have 3, Megan Thee Stallion, which Megan Thee Stallion always makes it so much higher in my list than I think she's going to. But I think I passively listen to her or something like that. 4 was Dua Lipa and 5 was Nicki Minaj.
Number 1, Eagles. Number 2, Sabaton, historical rock. Number 3, Jimmy Eat World. Number 4, Hardy. Number 5, Smash Mouth.
Look at you.
Smash Mouth is also good. We'll cover them soon.
Smash Mouth is so good.
Yeah, we'll cover them soon.
This is my first year in like forever that Mac Miller wasn't in my list.
Really? Yeah.
Because I wasn't having a very like Mac Miller year, I felt like.
I feel like he's more of an emotional year.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like last year while we're getting ready for the wedding, all those things, like that's a little bit more like in your feelings.
Yeah. So I basically got like a ton of stats on you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And it told me what listeners of this show like also listened to majority, like which I thought I was like, perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So at number 1, which I was like, okay, Joe Rogan.
Again, his episodes are 5 hours long.
Yeah.
They don't go by number of episodes. They go by total amount listened to.
I guess.
And there are like every year probably 10 Joe Rogan episodes where it's like, if you don't listen to them, you kind of don't know what the news is talking about for a while. So like for me, it's like, oh shit, Donald Trump was on Joe Rogan. I got to listen to all 5 hours of it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm kind of like out of the loop.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so we have Joe Rogan. Number 2, we have a podcast I've never heard of. So this is interesting. The Yard. And apparently they're a video game podcast.
Love it. Love our gamers.
I didn't know that was a demographic we had. So hello gamers.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that, but that makes sense that there's like gaming podcasts.
Yeah, of course.
3 is Armchair Expert. So sorry when I shit on Armchair Expert like
it's okay.
last week.
It's okay. It's okay to do it. It's okay. Because I'm sure everybody listening who listens to Armchair Expert is like, she's so fucking right. Like,
yeah.
There's no way. Like, I like Armchair Expert a lot of the time, except half the time it's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Feels like he's sleeping with the co-host. And I know it's like, he's not, and maybe I'm judgmental for it, but it's like, it really does feel a little bit too intimate. And they're talking just fucking weird.
It feels weird.
I kind of feel gross whenever they're like, my like soulmate, he always calls her his soulmate, Monica Padman. And I'm always like, I don't know you're married. I don't know. If I'd call another woman my soulmate.
If you called another woman your soulmate, I'd go to jail.
Probably.
I'd go to jail.
I tell my dog Goose, our dog Goose, he's my best friend all the time. And I usually try to whisper it.
You do.
Because I don't want Michaela to hear it. You're actually my best friend.
4 then we kind of flip back to my side. We have the 2 Hot Takes, the Reddit podcast.
Oh, okay.
And then 5, we have the Smosh Reads Reddit stories.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting to see like what you guys were also listening to, because I have no clue.
Yeah. We're going to learn more and more.
Yeah.
And here's my goal. I want us to be 50-50 men, 50 women. I want us to be totally even down the demographics. I want, when people say, what's your demo, to say fucking everyone. Everyone. We're like water. Hey, good episode.
Good up. Happy Spotify Wraps to all who celebrate.
To all who recognize the holiday.
Why is it called Spotify Unwrapped? I guess it's a wrap up. I was thinking of like they're unwrapping the details. But they're wrapping it up. I take it back.
Honestly, the documentary about Spotify revealing all the dirty secrets is going to be called Spotify Unwrapped.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm calling that right now. And when that happens, I'm going to post this clip.
Yep.
Be like, he called it in what year? 2024.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But anyways, thanks so much for watching the Public Pool Podcast. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share, follow wherever you're listening /watching. And drop us some comments. We like to chat in the comments.
Don't apologize for liking Nickelback.
Yeah.
And listen to Sabaton, give them a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you guys, and we will see you guys next week.
Yep. Towel off.
Towel off.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.